Why should we do that first time round?
Yes.
That's what we talking about.
So we're back again, and we're here with Roger this time. And yeah, as we did before, you know, we just want to hear about Roger, about his life, his experiences, his, you know, how he's kind of tackled his mental health issues and his life experiences. And talk about that and see what we can offer in terms of sort of advice and, you know, what to do in these situations and, you know, approaching the whole mental health struggle. So yeah, Roger, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. And yeah, I'm excited to tell my story really, because Andy's Man Club for me, you know, it's a lifesaver really. I mean, they've just been so good. But for me, yeah, I was living in New Zealand. Great job, well paid. I was a manager of a company. I had a wife, 10 years younger than me. We had the big house, and everything on the surface seemed to be going really well. You know, there was no signs of any problems like that. Relationships was a bit dodgy, but nothing. I mean, we were never horrible to each other or anything. And I did go to work one day, and like I say, great job. And I had what I believed was a heart attack. Was having a heart attack at the time. I was couldn't breathe. So obviously rushed to hospital, and I was admitted. Several tests done, and they did say, we think you just basically had a panic attack. And I was like, what's a panic attack? Never heard of it.
Yeah.
You know. And so being me, I've always been outgoing, jovial. I just brushed it to the side. Didn't think nothing more of it. Didn't bother me in the slightest. And I was just like, oh, just that day, it was, you know, fine. So just get on with it. So I got on with my life. But literally a couple of weeks later, I was driving to a business meeting. Like I said, I had a great job, and I had to stop the car. I got out, and oh my God, to me, it felt like I was fitting. And this guy stopped and decided to call an ambulance. And I was readmitted back into hospital, which, because it was the second time, I had a few more tests done than normal. And they still put it back down to these panic attacks that I was having. But after the second event, things took a turn for the worst, in the sense of I was 100% agoraphobic. I couldn't go to work. I was just freaking out. My whole body was, and I was, you know, I was that really outgoing guy, go drinking at the local pub and all the rest of it, to this shell of a man who was just, encased in a duvet, basically, day in and day out. And I got really ill. I did get, you know, quite poorly with it. Relationship was on the rocks, but it wasn't anything horrible. But we, as a couple, didn't really know what was going on and what to expect. And I think when I look at it now, back on it, we were both dealing with it like in a different light. And I did have a very good friend. She was from England, and I don't know. I think she sort of knew more about it than us, and she became my shoulder to cry on in a way because I didn't have a clue what was going on, and nobody else around me seemed to, and I was paying a lot of money for some therapy. I was trying all the medications, which take, they say, about 6 weeks to get into your body. I couldn't wait 6 weeks. I needed a quick fix. I wasn't waiting 6 weeks to try the next one. I was going mental. I absolutely was losing the plot. I had a great boss who was, just come in when you like, just, very, supportive, which you need at a time like that. And still, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I don't think my wife had a clue what was going on. And I phoned home and they could see that something was wrong. And my brother actually flew over. He took 2 weeks out and he just said, look, do you know what I mean? We knew that my relationship was probably over with my first wife, but still very amicable. And he said, you need to come home. You need to, sort out some of your troubles and that, where you could be surrounded by family. So I did, just up, packed and left. It was totally bizarre. And I came home and I literally lived in my bedroom. I was staying with my mum. Lived in my bedroom for a year. Couldn't come out, couldn't drive, couldn't do anything normal. I basically couldn't function. I came back from New Zealand. I was about 15 stone, and with my anxiety, it just got so bad. One of my big crutches was eating. So as soon as I would have an attack, I would eat. It would be a comfort thing for me to deal with. So then we took it to the next step. So I had started receiving some of my medication to try and see, what could help. And then I was really fortunate. I got to see a psychologist called Rob in Tavistock, and he changed my life. Because where I bottled up all this stuff I didn't really know about, he was just a guy I didn't know, and I could just blurt out everything. And then this is where the story starts, because part of his job was to find out about my childhood. And he asked me about my childhood and what went on and all the rest of it. And I grew up single parent family, which is not bad. I had a great childhood in a way. It's just my mum supporting me and two siblings from a first marriage. She never married my father, but that was fine. There was still three of us. But when we started digging into exactly what happened, and the story I'm about to tell is, I'm not sure even to this day whether, I think it might have contributed to my mental health, but I'm not sure it was the cause of me getting as bad as I did later on in life. But basically what happened was, probably I was a naughty child. I was a real handful. Because I was, and yeah, it's going to sound bad, but because I was born out of wedlock, I had two older siblings. My mum couldn't cope, struggling. So she actually took me to court and put me in a care home.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say my problem started there. And I actually quite enjoyed it. It actually was local here. Then I was still being quite naughty. I wouldn't go to school. And then I was sent to I would say a boarding school really for naughty kids. But some of them were extremely naughty, if you know what I mean. It wasn't what they called Borstal back in my day, but trust me, there were some guys there that, oh. And I was the youngest. I was about 13 years old, and I'd been sent in with all these 15 and 16-year-old guys and all the rest of it. And one of the stories that does come out of that is when I was in New Zealand, out of the blue, and I don't to this day know how they ever got hold of my number. I got a phone call from police, local police, saying we are looking back on sexual cases from when you were staying in this school. Do you remember anything? And I was just total blank. I was like, no, I don't remember anything, because I totally probably swept some things under the carpet. And I think for some people, they just choose to forget. And that's an easy way out. And, it was better for me to do that. And so I'd been put in care by my mum. I was going to this nut house, basically. And yeah, it was a whole different kettle of fish. And then I managed to get back to another children's home in Plymouth, which I did. And then I started to go to school locally. And after that, I mean, my life was just one of, grew up. I wasn't anyway a violent criminal. I wasn't a criminal at all. I did the party scene, loved it, absolutely loved it. And then out of the blue, I decided that no, I need to, get a job, do something decent. So I ended up moving to London, driving buses for London. And that's where I met a lady. I think I'm going a bit off story here, but I met a lady, and
we'll get back round to it.
Yeah, and I ended up in New Zealand. So
that's a long bus trip.
Yeah. So
Don't let me look at the fair.
That's how I got there. And then, like I say, 15 years I'd been there before this started to happen. And then questions were starting to be asked about my past and the childhood trauma, they were calling that, because you felt that your mum had rejected you, And I did then start thinking about maybe previous relationships that I'd been in, how I'd always had them at a bit of arm's length. I don't know why, but I always did. And then I've been seeing this psychologist for quite some time. We've been talking about this and that, and I tried the CBT. I was suffering really bad still with social anxiety, which is a terrible thing to have, because if you don't want to go anywhere, I mean, you stuff. I couldn't go to a supermarket. You know what I mean? I wouldn't get on a bus. You just wanted to do stuff for yourself, and it was pretty bad. And then I was asked if I would like a thing called EMDR. I'm not sure what it stands for. Eye movement detection, something or another. Basically, it's just a flashing light. It goes from left to right, and you watch it, and your psychologist will start asking you questions and that. And what they aim to do with that is she created a cupboard in the back of my head, and the crap you put in it, and then you can have whatever you want, a padlock, massive chain to go around it, whatever. Try and get it in. But with doing that, some traumas come out which I just couldn't cope with. And for me, I remembered a situation when I was young, when a guy had taken us into a treed area where I live, basically, and had asked if he could, touch our pots. Now, even to this day, I don't remember consenting or even doing it. I've got a horrible feeling that the other lad with me did, and this just came out of the blue. This is a feeling that I had in my body, and I just couldn't deal with it. I was like, oh God. And the worst thing about the whole thing is that I'd moved back to where I lived. That same person was still living in the village that I was living in. And yeah, I'll come on to that bit in a minute. So I came back from New Zealand, and I came back from New Zealand and started living with my mum, of course, and I caught up with a lady who's now my wife, and she sort of got it, what was going on, which was so much easier because when they say a problem shared is a problem halved, is so true. So I met this amazing woman, and I always ask, how she dealt with it, and she said I never give myself credit for the steps I was progressing in, and I would always beat myself up, but my social anxiety and stuff was just still off the scale. And she comes from a massive family. She's got huge. There's a lot of them, and but in the background, I was still dealing with this situation of this what I can only call abuse. I mean, it's the only way I can describe it, as it was abuse. And then I started recollecting more things about this certain guy, that I remembered. Oh, he did this, he did that. Not to me, but and it scared the living daylights out of me to an extent where I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I took matters into my own hands and lost it with him. And was hoping, it sounds sad, but I was hoping I'd be arrested and then I could get my story out and my story would be told.
Explain why you did it.
Yeah. And then it took another step further where I did try and attack him with a weapon, and I did wasn't arrested as such, but I was not in. I didn't give a monkey's about anything. I just didn't care, and that's the sad thing for my story is that when I've done this, I've now married a partner who's absolutely amazing. I mean, I've known her for years. She actually came over to New Zealand, spent a year with me in New Zealand, and every time I used to come home from New Zealand, I'd catch up with her, and so I got married to this beautiful woman. I've had 2 young kids. I've got 2 girls, Olivia and Bethany. They're only 9 and 12 now. And her dad's got mental health. and which I still struggle with today. And the upbringing bit about your mother giving you away at an early age, and the rest of it, that caught up with me, and then the dark thoughts started setting in. And I think the worst thing is that here I have this beautiful wife, these beautiful girls, we've got our own house, and I still just don't want to be here. There was so many times that, I wouldn't say so many times, but there was, a few times that I just was like, no, I just can't deal with this anymore. It's it's just too hard. I'm still getting my anxiety, I'm getting my panic attacks. In 2012, I only go and have a heart attack at 40. I'm saved by this amount of time by what you call him my nephew. And I wouldn't mind mentioning his name, Calvin. He took me to hospital. He had a little fancy sports car, and I came out of that. So you imagine, I already have social anxiety, panic attacks I'm dealing with, and the rest of it. And then I've got to deal with, oh shit, you've just had a heart attack. You're not even 4 years old. You've got like a 9-month-old child. You're due to get married in 6 months or whatever it was at the time. And it started me on a slippery slope. And I just thought, well, just not worth being here. And the horrible thing for me is like I just had, it's not split personality, but I had this really wonderful life, with my new wife. Had only one child at the time. I'm surrounded. She has got the biggest family, and they are so supportive. They're amazing. They sort of get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when I say get it, if I went to a function, and trust me, there would be a lot of people, and I would need to leave, people would understand.
Yeah.
I wasn't judged.
Yeah.
So the family support has just been absolutely brilliant. So I was really fortunate, or I am still really fortunate. I'm not sure that the whole family get it, but they understand a lot better. So with my heart attack, I went on a slippery slope again and was diagnosed with PTSD because it became everything. Didn't matter what, especially medical stuff. I mean, I went through, we could be here for half an hour. I could keep going you off a list of things that have gone wrong medically after that as well. So I just had this thing that my body and my life, I've got to have, I've had pneumonia a few times, been hospitalised because of my mental health. Even knee replacements. I had 3 knee replacements in my 40s. But it doesn't sound much. But when you're going into hospital, just that anxiety just builds up in your head.
I hate them as it is. And they make me really anxious.
So bad. And really, I just didn't want to be here. And started having those thoughts of where, when, should I, shouldn't I? And then to battle it sometimes, which I have to say to anybody actually makes it worse, was to have a drink. Do you know what I mean? And I've never been at home, I'm not like a violent person or anything. but I have had severe anger issues that I've had to seek help for because I do not control myself, especially when I've probably had a drink. And yeah, so it's just been difficult, even to this day, to deal with, thoughts of my childhood, which is difficult. But I look at it now as an adult that my mum had to do, because basically why I was given up is that I was a bastard, basically. So the two kids were born in wedlock and were respected by grandparents, but because I wasn't, I was not accepted by these grandparents. So any family, I was never invited. Don't bring him. It's Christmas. I sort of, I clearly remember, the present size. But my mum, amazing as she is, would always do her best to try and compensate, because she knew what was coming. But school holidays, they would go off on holiday with Nan and Grandad. I'd be left behind. And so people ask, oh, you know what I mean? Do you think that could have been something that made you the way you are at the age of 40? And I really, to this day, I don't think it helped. But
You're not sure if it.
just not sure. It could have been just something, because they say about your relationship at the time wasn't going the best. But I mean, it wasn't spiteful stuff. Like some of the stories you hear and all the rest of it. But yeah, we probably knew that, we were splitting up and all the rest of it. But where I was then, to say I've only been doing Andy's Man Club for 18 months, to where I was then, I've got a wife and the two children, as I said, a totally different person, and I should give myself more credit for, what I've done and all the rest of it. But yeah, it just, I don't know, gets at you, eats at you.
Touch on your story. So, would you say you as a child, like the way you were treated, is like, would you tailor that to your kids now? Like, as in, so you've been treated. Well, I mean, you say you've been treated nicely, but you like got left. So, would you now say you've tailored like a different way of parenting to your kids? Like, you want them to feel wanted, or
that is a good question. I think rejection in life for me has been, quite bad. So I feel with my kids actually, bless their hearts, I think they sort of do get it.
Yeah.
Social media these days, and it's spoken about a lot more, where back, 15 years ago, it wasn't talked about as much. But now, I mean, they can look up whatever they like, and they've got friends at school, young kids that are, and they're getting these diagnoses of, maybe ADHD or autism and stuff like that. But when I was growing up in the 70s,
you was naughty.
That was just, you were a naughty kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
you just didn't want to concentrate in school or something like that.
And with the things going on at home, you just play up, just be a little sod, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then the questions were asked, also, was it because I was a bit of a party with the rave scene? So you can imagine what came with that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people asked, oh, could that have contributed? And there's all these questions to ask. And you just, for me, I just don't know. One thing, And very, very weird situation happened is when I had my second major panic attack. The guy that stopped and called the ambulance, he phoned my wife at the time and he said, would you phone me and just let me know that he's okay? So she said, yeah, fine. And she kept his number, and I remember this so vivid. I spoke to him, thanked him, and he said, honestly, Roger, I knew exactly what was happening to you because he was obviously in New Zealand, but he had been in England 2 months before. He was due to fly home. Let's just say, because it's better not mention names, but a well-known brand energy drink.
Yeah.
He had 2 large bottles of, and he went into complete shock. Was rushed into hospital. I was in there for 3 days. He said, and he said he knew exactly when he seen me what I was going and what was happening to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And he told me his story, and I was like, holy shit, I'm drinking Red Bull because we're 20,000 square foot of space ourselves, and at the front was a small shop, used to sell frozen food, but also used to sell the energy drinks.
Yeah.
Red Bull being, and they were good to go. They used to be like, Roger, obviously a lot warmer in New Zealand. You ever want a can, it'll just come up and out itself.
Yeah.
So I'd go in the morning, I'd have my coffees and all the rest of it, and then I'd get there. Oh, I don't know. I honestly can't remember how many cans a day I was drinking, and so I branch off. So I am a tree. I do branch off in different directions of what may have caused me. Because if you guys come out with me when I was 38, you'd have been like, whoa, this Roger's a right laugh. You know what I mean? We're going to have a good scream with this fella.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just 2 years later, but not even 2 years later, I was just, it's just, shut up, man. And how? I mean, everything's literally going all right. It's just a relationship breakup. Well, I've been in a couple of them before. You know what I mean? I've always struck things off. Oh, it's okay. You know what I mean? You obviously get a bit angry here and there, but nothing that I would normally have worried about. Was that the cause? Was it the cause of my childhood? Was it the cause of this?
So listen to your story. It's really similar to mine, as in like the rejection side. So I moved out. I was with someone for 6-7 years. We moved out, had a house. So we both got decent jobs, got a house, got 2 decent cars. We were stable money wise, financially. Like we were 21, 22, and you're thinking, wow, we've like cracked life at 22. So like if you're looking at it, you're thinking, wow, I want that relationship. Whereas for me, I don't know if it is because of like rejection as a kid. Because I didn't grow up with a dad around.
Nor me.
So I don't know if it was that caused me to just want to break away from that, because I don't know, like I said, I had a perfect life. I couldn't have asked for anything different at 21, 22. And, you get so close to having that perfect life, and then all of a sudden, you make a decision that you think is the correct one, and then your life's all upside down, inside out, and you're down there in 18 months' time, you think, wow, how did I get here?
Yeah. So, we talk about the rejection thing. I think it's a really hard thing for, guys to even talk about and the rest of it. So I've also come back from New Zealand and tried to find my biological father, which I did.
And how was that?
Went tits up. It was good at first.
Tits up because you wanted something more, or because
not at all. It was going swimmingly well. Met my firstborn child. Everything. I'd travel up there. I'd catch up with would be my stepsister.
Yeah.
Her kids, everything was great. And then to this day, I wouldn't have a clue, but just total no contact at all.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So then you go, rejection,
Yeah.
and then you start spiraling out, I'm one of those, and shouldn't, and we talk about it a lot at Andy's Man Club, is you let things build up. Well, for me, for years, I could just I could cope with this build up. Do you know what I mean? And I could, like, being jovial for me, I could be funny, blow things off, and all the rest of it. But as this started happening, mental health, getting rejection now from my father, and that side of family. I mean, does it bother me? Not really. Do you know what I mean?
Is it because you don't know different?
Yeah, probably. And then, yeah, I mean, it was a bit sad. Um, you know, rejection for me. I've never really known rejection in my life. It's because I've always just fobbed it off and just got past it, dealt with it my own ways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which some people say it's not the best way to do it, but I felt that that's just how I got through. I mean, I left home at 16. Same again. I was in flats living. Do you know what I mean? I met some wonderful people. Growing up through my teens and late teens and early 20s, and and then just became this thing of a person that scares me just a little bit. And my dark thoughts, Andy's Man Club. So I've seen a psychologist. He suggested Andy's Man Club. I was probably like thousands of other men. Don't need that. You know what I mean? Just talk to someone. And I went to Andy's Man Club. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a facilitator. And the first week, I sat in a group. And generally, what we like to do is maybe put, if you're quite new, maybe at the end, so you're sort of your ball gets passed around where you can speak. So they'll get some idea of what you're saying. And I think I was near the end. And the ball's going round. And I'm like, number one bloke, he's got that, I've got that. Number two bloke, I thought I was the only one that had that. Yeah. Oh, bit of abuse there. Yeah, had that. And I was like, holy shit, you know what I mean? 4 or 5 of these guys had, been talking how my mind was reading things. And so when it got to me, I was a blubbering wreck. I absolutely, 40, no, I wasn't, I was over 50. I was a blubbering wreck. I was like, I just cannot believe it. And Andy's, it was just mental. So I looked at it that I had this massive hole, and I went the first week, and I'd managed to put this little patch over it, this hole. And then I went back week 2. I think I was a blubbering mess again, but I spoke a lot more. Do you know what I mean? And then by then I got to put a second patch on it. I started just after Christmas, and I'd gone because that Christmas, for some reason, I just really just had enough and didn't want to be here. But moving on, got to Andy's, 2 weeks gone past, okay. And some guys talking, I'm relating to it and going, because I really was like I was the only one that had this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was the only one that, you know, was relating to some sort of physical abuse, mental abuse, like, you know, some psychological stuff, my mental health. I was, you know, I thought I was an absolute loon tune. Do you know what I mean? Wasn't worthy of what I'd got around me, which I still suffer with now. You know, I have everything. I own my own house. I have my beautiful wife. I have my kids. And then when you have your dark days, which I still have, I'm a bit like, I'm medicated. Um, I don't judge on anything. One thing I've definitely learned about mental health is, you know, do try lots of different things. And I'm not talking about medication primary. I'm just talking about, you know, it could be religion, it could be diet, fitness, whatever.
Yeah.
I swear that there is something out there that will help someone deal with. Andy's Man Club is just the cream on the top. So I've been going for 3-4 weeks. This patch is getting thicker. I'm not having any dark thoughts whatsoever. In actual fact, I do find myself integrating with more and more people. And like Mick said, you're starting to get this stuff off your chest week on, week out. It's helping him, it's helping them, and you know, you can see yourself in a lot of the other guys, and you're like, you know what I mean? I've got a bit of advice for you, you know, maybe try this, try that, or listen to me, and you know, whatever. And I just carried on. I couldn't get enough of it. For me, the Monday 7 to 9 at Andy's Man Club,
The place to be.
place to be. I could have done with it 2 or 3 times a week. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't get enough of it. And then, you know, time probably 4 months come, I would say that I was a totally different bloke.
Yeah.
I was, yeah. And I hope to think now, 18 months on, and I've only been a facilitator for probably 4 or 5 months. And I don't mind taking the lead either. It doesn't bother me. I love to give back. The facilitators that I've met from other groups as well have just been fantastic. And yeah, you know, Mick was talking about the podcast and that. I think it's great that, you know, men should listen to, you know, other men and not be so, you know, this stigma of this macho-ness and all the rest of it. You know, we all have problems.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's how we deal with them. And sometimes you just need just that extra, you know. So to me, come to Andy's, you know, if you only come for 1 week, at least you know Andy's is there and you know what to expect. Do you know what I mean? So if you go away and you're not feeling the best, you might have a week off. But some guys, they'll have 4, 5, 6 weeks off and then
Come back when they need it.
they'll come back and they need it. So I'm not saying for everybody it should be like an every week thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people do, of course, but I think if stop with the crap of thinking, I need, that's bollocks. Life's changed now. We live in a totally different world.
Yeah. 100%.
Do you know what I mean? And you need to, you know, you're expressing how you're feeling. It's not soppy, you know, emotional, well, I would say girly stuff sort of thing. But you're just getting stuff off your chest.
Isn't it, to believe?
Do you know what I mean? And you get to believe in the people that are with you. I mean, the spectrum and scale of the people you would not believe. I mean, it's mind blowing of you know, we could have an unemployed guy right up to maybe a cardiologist or something. Do you know what I mean? And Mick talked about his story with the two guys that last week, it was only last night, have, you know, smiled for the first time.
Yeah.
We've got, there's a group of young lads that have been coming now. I'd say they've been coming for a good 6 months, maybe a couple more, bit longer. And they had their own issues and they were dealing with it. Fell into Andy's man club, have formed this relationship bond where they go out quite a bit. I mean, they're even talking about going on holiday now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just for us, you know, the likes of me and Mick, to see that. It keeps bringing me back, and
to exactly why you do it.
Of exactly why I do it. Yeah. I still have to deal with my own demons, but the coping mechanisms that Andy's Man Club can give, and you know, it hasn't got to be, you know, this, that, and the other, but they do give you the coping mechanisms too. And the biggest one is, I guarantee you'll meet someone there that relates to what you've said. And once you've been for the first few weeks, you just start opening up. And when a new guy comes in and says, you know, I've not had a good day, you know, been having some dark thoughts and all the rest of it. Matey that sat next to you, might not even be a facilitator, will just say, do you know what? I'm the same as you. I've had a bad day today and I'm not feeling good. And do you know what I did about it? I went for a walk. Just get it off my chest, put some thingies in, and you know, it's gone. And just sharing that is just, it doesn't sound much, but it is.
Like you say, a problem, you know, halved. And then you think you've got all of these people around you, every single one of them that's able to take a bit of that weight off of you. You know what I mean? Like you say, now they're with people that understand, and they're going on holidays and trips, and they're going away on this holiday, and they've got people with them that understand. They don't have to bottle things up or carry that weight on their own. And if somebody thinks, I'm just not feeling it today, like if they were in your position, you're like, I'm not all there today. You know, they understand, and they can be there to support you.
Yeah.
And once you've got that community and the people around you,
you can't, you know, I could go on about Andy's all day really, because what they did for me is just mind-blowing. And
life changing, literally.
It is life changing. I mean, like I say, I've been talking to guys that, you know, way past the stage I got to. I was thinking about, I didn't want to be here anymore, and thinking how I could do it and all the rest of it, to people I would speak to now who've literally, you know, I was saying earlier on, I'd be, you know, he was going over the bridge, you know, and, you know, we're here. Andy's Man Club's here. We'll talk to you. If you don't like us, you know, and it's not for everyone, but I'll tell you what, it is a game changer. It is really a game changer. And you guys doing the podcast, I mean, you know, spreading the word.
And that's what we say, and our motto is, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's kind of our aim. We want to kind of speak to as many people as we can who want to share their stories, because there's so many different versions of, like, you know, mental health. People will relate in different ways.
Yeah, my story is obviously totally different to Mick's, and the next two guys you get in, their stories will be totally different again.
Exactly that.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, but Andy's, we've just got each other's back, and you need that. You know, knowing that you've got that support. I know if I go out here today and go, God, I'm dreading looking at that podcast. Did I like balls up on it and look at which I will do, because that's just my and
Yeah,
my
or
anxiety.
I wish I said that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I got that bit in or whatever. It's just sharing it,
Support.
you know.
Yeah.
And if there's how many would you say? 100 of us last night in Plymouth?
Yeah, I would say.
I don't know how many live in this city. How many people? Is there 250,000? And there was 100 of us last night. I'm telling you, there is, I'd say,
A lot.
at least got
It's
to
like
be
we said, that's just the people.
1,000 to 5,000 guys at least who are going through the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we say, we're a non-judgmental organisation, and that is true.
No, that's right.
So,
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean?
Wrap up there.
you know the big takeaway, especially from Roger's story, is that there's never a time where it can't hit you, and you know you might not even know that it's there. You might not even know you're struggling with it, or that it's boiling away and it's getting to a point that you just can't manage anymore. And even if everything seems to be right and everything's going right, it can just hit you, and that's okay. You know, you don't have to be okay because everything else is okay.
exactly.
You can,
And like Mick said, appreciate you boys are doing this.
Always thank you for your
The
time.
words,
It's,
spreading the word for AMC is just, we need to do it because there are
I would
more
say there's
people
not
out
going
there.
to be one person that says that it was a bad decision to go. You know,
Yeah.
and that's really what the
Take
more
away
people that
positives.
know.
That's why I
that-
think if you guys were to attend a session wherever, it doesn't matter whether you went Plimpton City, Marjons, just see the guys and different people that they are, and just the struggles that you wouldn't. You'd be like, how's he struggling with that? He's got doing this, doing that. But everybody's different, aren't we?
To me, that's
So-
like brave. You know, like I don't see the man up and bottle it up. You know, there is times where you have to move things to the side and deal with them, but when it comes to mental health and stuff like that, you know, bravery is fighting it by speaking up about it. That is the brave thing to do.
And Andy's have obviously taught me the techniques in loads of ways that I, like Mick, can now function that much better. I'd hope that my wife would say, since I've been coming to Andy's, I've got a lot better. You know what I mean? So, but and it is true. No, that's not how that. You're going to stand for me, isn't it? So yeah, and it just teaches you like techniques and ways to deal with. And you can go and see a psychologist. You can do this CBT. Yeah, for me it's just bollocks. But Andy's is an absolute game changer, and I just recommend anybody to come really. And wish them all the best.
Thank you.
very much.
Cheers,
Thank
Roger.
you guys.
Thank you.
And you, mate.
Why should we do that first time round?
Yes.
That's what we talking about.